Hello everyone. I hope you and your families are well. I'm Marta Olson, Chair of Little Traverse Conservancy, and thank you for joining us at the Offield Family Viewlands Preserve. This is our 48th annual meeting and our first virtual meeting. I hope it's our only virtual meeting, but we hope for the best. If you had told me 1 year ago that LTC would own formerly a golf course, or that our education staff would become viral internet stars, or that our stew crew would work for 2 months very productively inside, or that our major fundraiser, Save the Trees, would be wildly successful without even being held, they would have said, "You must be dreaming." But all these things happened, and I couldn't be more grateful or more proud. In the midst of these difficult days, we have much to be thankful for at Little Traverse Conservancy. We've realized that, like nature itself, LTC is a very resilient, adaptable, and relevant organization. Our nature preserves have provided so much comfort and peace to so many during this pandemic. The creativity of the staff in every department has turned obstacles into opportunities. I'm so impressed and grateful to each and every one of them. The land protection staff and our generous donors continue to bring us spectacular preserves such as this one. There are many others too. The stewardship crew, supported by our loyal family of volunteers, continues to maintain and improve the health of our preserves for the enjoyment of the public. The education and communication staff pivoted to engage our community through very terrific educational videos and wonderful social media posts. We've received some wonderful publicity about Little Traverse Conservancy lately, and I was particularly heartened by an article that Kate Bassett wrote for the Harbor Light, in which she was talking about the Offield Viewlands, and most of the quotes were from the next generation. And this is just so heartening to hear that this new generation cares about the land so much, that land ethic is passed down from parents and grandparents, and this really bodes well for the future of LTC. LTC continues to strengthen our financial foundation by focusing on building relationships and increasing our membership base. Our leadership team has worked very hard to connect with our past and present supporters, and they've used so many different venues to do this, from homes of our board members in Florida to kayaks on the Maple River. Our very talented and dedicated board members and committee members have navigated the challenges and provided critical guidance during these unprecedented times. This year we've called on you more than usual, and your input and support means so much to us, and I personally appreciate that very much. Speaking of leadership, we were very saddened recently to hear about the death of Boo Litzenberger. We send our sympathy to Diane and his family. Boo is part of a small group of leaders here in this area who were looking for an innovative way to preserve the land in the north that they love. And over 50 years ago, they founded Little Traverse Conservancy. We also lost a very caring and involved board member in Carrie Murtaugh, and we send our sympathy to her family as well. Since this is my last year as chair, I'd like to give a special thanks to our leadership team of Kieran, Tom, Ty, and Emily, but especially Kieran. LTC is so fortunate to have this leadership team. In every situation, whether it was a difficult challenge or an exciting opportunity, a golf course, sure, Kieran, let's go for it. They all approached it with very detailed background and thoughtful analysis to help us as a board make a very informed decision about which direction to go. It's been a personal joy and honor to work with each and every one of them, and I will miss my interactions with them on a weekly basis, and I very much appreciate everything that they've done for the organization during my 2 years. Between their leadership and this hardworking staff, you are in great hands. Finally, we owe so much to you, our members, for sustaining everything that we do. The mission stays the same. When we come out of this, we will have learned many new ways to preserve, steward, and enjoy the land that we love. Thank you very much, and please be well. I'd like to introduce my wingman the last couple of years, Joe Kimmel. He's vice chair, and he is also chair of the nominating committee. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Joe Kimmel. I'm the Vice Chair of the board this year, be rising chair next year, and I am going to give you your nomination report for the nominees for the Board of Directors in the coming year. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee, the nominating committee that's helped develop the slate. Ian Bund, Marie Nicholson, Concy Pierpont, and Cedric Richter. I want to thank them for their help in developing this slate. We have several board members who are going off the board this year, and I'd like to give some recognition to them. John Baker is going off the board after a number of years of service, and John, we thank you for your service. Jim Bartlett is going off the board again this year, and Jim, we thank you for your service. We hope that both of you will continue to be active on behalf of it, and I know you will. And Ian Bund is going off the board. I'd like to give special thanks to Ian. Ian has been a long-time supporter, and he's been our treasurer. He's been the head of our investment committee and a long-time board member and been an invaluable resource. And I know Ian will continue to stay active too. But Ian, I'd like to thank you for your service both on the nominating committee, on the board, and on behalf of the investment committee. The following trustees whose terms expire in 2020 are being renominated to serve additional terms on the board. Mike Cameron, Nancy Lindsay, Lisa Lloyd, Phil Porter, Cedric Richner, and Sue Stewart. We thank them for their service, and we are nominating them for additional term on the board. The following individuals are being nominated as new members of the Board of Directors. Josh Baker, and Josh will be taking his father's position. We thank Josh and John. Lisa Blanchard, Stuart Bishop, Meg Sproul, John Merrill, and Rick Bolton are hereby nominated as new members for new terms on the Board of Directors. That concludes our nomination report. Thank you very much, and I want to say at the end to thank Marta Olson as outgoing chair. She's been a great chair for me as vice chair to serve under. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is John Lyons. I'm the treasurer of the Little Traverse Conservancy, and I'm here to give the 2019 financial summary update. The Conservancy has 3 mutually supportive funds within the organization to support its land protection, stewardship, and environmental education programs. The Operating Fund. The Conservancy's operations are funded by its operating fund. Revenue received from the memberships provide about 60% of its operating funds, the largest single source. Memorials, grants, the Save the Trees benefit, and approved endowment fund transfers are other significant revenue sources for operations. The primary expenses are personnel costs at 73%, preserve stewardship at 7%, utilities, insurance, travel and meetings, and printing and postage make up the remainder. The operating fund had revenues of $1.72 million and expenses of $1.598 million in 2019. This resulted in a $119,826 budget surplus for the year on a cash basis. Revenues were $114,000 more than 2018, but expenses were only higher by $4,400. Cash reserves at year-end were $1,055,000, a 7-month cash reserve, which is normal. The Land Acquisition Fund is used to hold and spend money needed for the direct protection of land through donation, acquisition, and conservation easements. The Land Acquisition Fund includes a revolving fund, which is made up of restricted and unrestricted donations. The revolving fund is used to purchase land for which donations have been specified, to purchase important land where time is of the essence, to loan money for the purchase of land which will subsequently be paid for by donations, or to purchase land which will eventually be sold or traded to a state or local unit of government. For the purchase of land, the Conservancy raises funds where possible to cover costs of acquisition. Donations received for specific land protection Fundraising projects are deposited in the Land Acquisition Fund. Each land project is assigned a separate account to track expenses, gifts, and pledges. In 2019, the fund received $3,808,000 in donations for land protection projects. Used as a revolving fund, allows LTC to quickly purchase land or options, fund new purchase projects, hold funds for ongoing purchase projects, and hold nature preserves. The fund balance was $1.75 million at year end. In 2019, our key acquisitions were the Woolham Family Preserve addition near Cross Village, the Seven Springs addition on Burt Lake, and the Ashkebug Preserve on US 31 near Charlevoix. In 2019, our ending asset balance of the Land Protection Fund was $97.8 million, with the value of all land protected to date at $188 million, with 776 projects completed. The Endowment Fund. The Conservancy's Endowment Fund was established to provide the organization with long-term income to carry out its work, protecting and managing natural land and open space in northern Michigan, encouraging public use of its preserves, and educating the public about the importance of our natural environment. Funds for the endowment come from contributions to the Conservancy's planned giving program. Income is distributed annually to support the organization's preserve stewardship and environmental education programs. The fair market value of the endowment fund at year end totaled $13.82 million. The unrestricted fund gained 21.7% for the year. New donations were $924,000 in the new endowment contributions, thanks to a concerted effort to our planned giving initiative. This included the creation of the Andrea Family Education Endowment. We distributed $485,000 in 2019, and the income was used for stewardship, environmental education programs, long-term care of preserves, and easements. 2019 was a successful year financially for LTC, and we would like to thank all of our members, volunteers, and all of those who support our mission. Please look for the 2019 annual report, which has been mailed out. And now, on to our staff reports.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Donnelly, Director of Land Protection here at Little Traverse Conservancy. We had a great year for conservation. From August of 2019, we were able to protect an additional 2,918 acres of land, over 4 miles of frontage on rivers, lakes, and streams, and 5 miles of scenic road frontage. From our founding in 1972, LTC has protected 63,000 acres of land. Becky Wadley, our land protection specialist here in the department, played a big role in helping us complete these projects.
In featuring some of these projects, I'd like to start you off at Story Lake, a transfer and assist project LTC completed in October of 2019 in partnership with the Department of Natural Resources. This is a fantastic community asset located in Sheboygan and Otsego counties with 2,103 acres protected between Pigeon River Country State Forest and state forest land west of I-75. LTC refers to projects that we partner on with federal, state, and local governments as transfer and assist projects. These projects are a big part of what we do and offer to the communities that we serve in. It is a great way to get a lot of land protection done with a coming together of partners and funding sources. Although we aren't ultimately the owners, this property is open and available to the public and provides habitat for elk, black bear, bobcat, and white-tailed deer. In addition to Story Lake, it has over a mile of frontage on Stewart Creek, a cold water trout stream that is a tributary of the Sturgeon River. And moving on to a land project that you've likely recently heard about, the Offield Family Viewlands, located in Emmett County. This project was unique for us, exploring the uncharted territory of pursuing ownership of a former golf course. With 280 acres located in a prime location for public access between Harbor Springs and Petoskey, featuring a multitude of potential opportunities and breathtaking views of Little Traverse Bay and the Inland Waterway, we decided to take the leap in pursuing the project. With a loan and a generous donation made by the Off-Field Foundation, we were able to officially purchase the property in April. There's still fundraising left to do to cover this $2 million project. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to visit our website on landtrust.org. I'd like to give a special shout out and thank you to our Land Protection Committee Chair, Mary Fakalak, and our committee members listed here. Thank you for the time and effort you put towards discussing all of our land projects. And lastly, it can't go without saying that we are not able to protect land in this place we love without the generosity of our membership, volunteers, landowners, and donors who support these projects. We were able to complete 18 projects over the last year through both the purchase and donation of land and conservation easements that not only provide open space for the community, but further protect what we love about living and visiting here. To learn more about additional projects we completed in 2019, please feel free to look through our recently published annual report. And although 2020 has been off to an interesting start to say the least, we have exciting projects on the horizon and are continuing to stay busy in the Land Protection Department.
Hi, my name is Derek, and I'm the Director of Stewardship at LTC, and here to share some highlights of this last year. This last January, I was giving a presentation at the Stewardship Network Conference in Lansing, and I was sharing with the audience about our ambitious habitat project at our Jack and Tucker Harris Working Forest Reserve. This reserve has a bunch of old ag fields, about 40 to 50 acres of old fields that are largely composed of non-native species. We value healthy grasslands, and so we sought to revitalize these habitats. And following best management practices for this work would require killing off all the existing vegetation so that those native grass seeds could become established. We were all set to go that route when some new data came our way. That gave us pause. We evaluated. In the end, we went the traditional route with some of the heavily impacted acreage, but tried other management tools for the rest. Let me to the point that there are difficult decisions, tough choices in conservation. The what, when, where, why, and how to conserve and do stewardship. Believe it or not, there is disagreement even within the conservation field. So rather than have that stymie us or keep us from doing good work, I think it should push us towards continually reevaluating the why and what of our stewardship actions. So we do that at LTC, and I challenged the audience by telling them that LTC defines stewardship as wise care and not right care. We seek to make wise choices, understanding that there could be multiple right ones. Critical to making wise decisions is having a thorough understanding of biodiversity and natural processes, which is why we had a botanist do an inventory of a riparian wetland at our Darton Family Nature Preserve last year, documenting 301 species. It's why we utilize a bioacoustic monitoring device to record bat species at our Beam Nature Preserve, which led to the installment of a bat condo that had been built by the Petoskey High School trades class. It's why we track the preserve visits and how we know the top 20 most heavily visited nature preserves and working forest reserves. This data helps us make wise decisions and helps guide our management actions to align with our values. Our value, which is prioritizing facilitating access to nature, but not at the expense of ecological integrity when possible. So a good example is here at the Woolham Family Nature Preserve and this bridge. This beautiful bridge built this last year This property receives significant use and heavy amounts of traffic, which is great, and we see why. This is a beautiful, wonderful spot to experience nature in Lake Michigan. But it is also a very sensitive habitat and is prone to erosion. So we need to manage that. And we manage that by building a beautiful structure such as this bridge. This year we took on the wise care of a former golf course, and we are taking on the establishment of a mountain biking trail. Now, these two big, large projects push the boundary of what stewardship can look like. At the end of my presentation, I told the audience I need to add one more word to our definition of stewardship, and that is wise, humble care. Humble. Because there are knowledge gaps, there are different perspectives, and there are new ways of reaching our audiences and new audiences, all to align with our values of facilitating access and enjoyment of nature. Little Traverse Conservancy's approach to this appreciation of nature goal is to meet people where they are. And that could be caring for a wild neighborhood preserve by mowing a trail or grooming a trail this past year. It could be maintaining an incredible scenic view and establishing a trail system at a former golf course. Or it could be fulfilling the growing interests for a healthy outdoor recreational activity such as mountain biking. Our stewardship staff has to remain nimble and flexible, acting as biologists, engineers, planners, construction workers, coordinators, equipment operators, landscapers, and more. Charles Dawley, Kay Celeste, Mike Lynch, Brad Van Blaan, and Ethan Jacobs continue to rise to the challenge to be effective and successful, wise, humble caretakers. So major props to them. And special thanks to our two seasonal interns, or summer interns this year from Austin College, Madison Talmadge and Tolwyn Adams, who worked really hard, were an excellent help, and good teammates. So thanks to both of them. This crew, along with many great volunteers, these volunteers not only critical to our work, but our dear friends have helped us do so much this last year, including several boardwalk additions or expansions, such as at our Waldron Fen Preserve, Clark, Sheboyganing, Sleepy Hollow, and Hellstrom Family Preserves, among others. I'm proud of the work that we do to keep our lands healthy, diverse, and inviting for recreation and for conservation. So thank you for your support and your appreciation.
Hi, this is Sarah Mayhew, Director of Environmental Education, here to give you the education report since our last annual meeting in 2019. It has been quite a year to remember. We could not have done this without our incredible education staff and volunteers. Huge thank you to Sarah Cucci, Brad Van Blaan, Lindsay Hall, and volunteer Mary Trout for making this such a special year. It is my honor to give you the following report, accompanying with photographs taken throughout the year. Thanks so much. Starting with fall. 48 classes from 16 different schools participated in our fall program season, for a total of 964 students. The winter season had the highest number of participants on record, with a total of 1,537 students across 78 classes from 22 different schools. The spring season ended up looking quite a bit different due to school closures as a result of the nationwide health pandemic. Unable to conduct programs, our response to the situation was to create a brand new web experience that aimed to meet the distance learning needs of both teachers and parents. Our web page is divided into 3 sections: online learning links to organizations that already excel in online environmental education, activities and lessons that parents can download or teachers can share on various online platforms, and virtual field trips conducted by LTC staff and volunteers. Our virtual field trips are designed to reflect our teaching styles, be engaging, educational, and encourage students to explore the natural world around them. In addition to the field trips, Mackinac City 4th grade class participated in our first ever live virtual program focusing on plants at the Hathaway Nature Preserve. This was the second year piloting a new program with Mackinac City Schools at the Hathaway family's Regina Cali Nature Preserve. The goal of this model is to engage all students grades K through 12 in frequent and meaningful cross-curricular outdoor experiences that both meet teaching requirements and help fulfill LTC stewardship goals for the property. We are achieving this through student contributions to the property's management plan. An LTC management plan is broken into several sections that historically staff contributes to. By involving students, we are providing classes real-life, hands-on opportunities to learn about a wide variety of subjects. This year, we focus on the following sections: animal habitats, soils and landforms, cover types, biological inventory, photography, and cultural and historical land uses of the property. Sections were broken into assignments that included classroom presentations and field trips to the Hathaway Nature Preserve. One example is the school's initial visit to the property in the fall. The outing was to collect the second round of forest metric data and species inventory that we started last year. This year, we designed this task specifically for middle and high school students. The collected data was compiled and provided to the high school math teacher, who used it to teach graphing to her students with actual hands-on data they collected. We also assisted the school's purchase of a CNC router that the shop class will be using to make all of the signage for the property once the trail system is completed. Trail designing and building is another student project. This year, the program really started to gain traction, and teachers were using the Hathaway property to teach lessons on their own without the presence of LTC staff. Many projects and outings were slated for the spring. However, due to school closures, those will be postponed until the fall. It is our hope that this model will instill a stewardship ethic in students that will last a lifetime and strengthen their connection to place. Since last August, there were 17 total visits to the Hathaway Nature Preserve. Other highlights from the school year include partnering for the second year with the Good Heart Artist Residency Program to offer high school students a unique opportunity to learn from working professionals in the field of writing. Writer Timothy Bradley put on a nature writing workshop for the English class in Mackinac City, followed by a field trip to the Hathaway Preserve to practice their writing skills. Volunteer Mary Trout continued to offer the after-school birding club to Sheridan Elementary students in Petoskey. Fall programs ran once a week for 6 weeks and for 4 weeks throughout the winter season. We also continued to partner with North Central Michigan College to offer internships to students in their Sustainable Living Skills program. We hosted 5 interns throughout the school year. Lastly, the summer report. The uncertainty of whether or not we would be able to host summer programming due to the pandemic resulted in us not offering our traditional schedule, but rather adapting to the changing climate and responding to a need from the public. We decided that we could host some groups in a safe manner and offered 2 per week throughout the month of July around various locations throughout Emmett and Sheboygan counties. The 2020 summer environmental education programs were designed for families and intentionally chosen to ensure safe social distancing. Without the generous contributions of our incredible donors and members, providing these free outdoor learning experiences to thousands of students throughout our 5 counties would not be possible. We are so grateful for you. Thank you. And a very special thanks to our education committee members, Robbie DePietro, Tina Dominic, Eric Hemingway, Molly Hogard, John Lyons, John Merrill, Sue Irish Stewart, and Glenn Young. We are so appreciative of you all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for clicking on our 2019 annual meeting for Little Traverse Conservancy. I'm Kieran Fleming. I'm your executive director for the Conservancy. And I want to start out by thanking the people who are most dear to me in this process, and that's our staff. From our education department, we had Sarah Cucci this year, and our environmental education director, Sarah Mayhew. From our stewardship department, we had Mike Lynch, Charles Dawley, Keisha Lesh, and our stewardship director, Derek Shields. In our land department, we have Becky Wadley and our land protection director, Caitlin Donnelly. In our membership coordinator, Emily Hughes. In our communications department, Lindsay Hall and Ann Fleming. Our conservation easement director, Melissa Hansen. And in administration, we have Sarah Gurney, Tom Lagerstrom, our CFO, Ty Ratliff, our associate director. And I also want to give special shout out to our seasonal employee, Brad Von Blon, who helped out both in education and in our stewardship departments throughout the year. And this year we had 2 interns from Austin College down in Texas. We had Tulwin Adams and Madison Talmage. These folks really leaned in this year, and in a tough year to get everything that we needed to get done. They are elite. Our volunteers are critical to our mission, and Keisha Lesh and Derek Shields will have reported on that by now. Hundreds of people literally getting together to make all this magnificent work happen. We would be lost and not able to replace the work of our volunteers, so thank you to all of them. Our 2019 Board of Directors, the LTC board is big and diverse. We have people that represent different areas of our 5-county service area. We have people that represent different areas of expertise. We have attorneys, we have realtors, we have ecologists, we have people familiar with recreational uses and all sorts of things in between, working together from all different points of view to do this great land conservation work that we all value up here in northern Michigan. I want to give a special thanks to our 2019 Executive Committee, Carrie Slavic, Cedric Richner, Ham Shermer, our Secretary Maureen Nicholson, our Treasurer Ian Bund, Joe Kimmel, our Vice Chair, and Marta Olson, our Chair. And this is Marta's last year as Chair. She will be stepping down from that role and into her regular board terms from this point. Marta came on as Chair as I came on as Executive Director, and I can't express how many times I've said to myself how lucky I am for her to be the chair of this organization at this time and with me. She was the perfect leader, both for me and for the organization, and I just can't appreciate her enough. Marta and I got to know each other several years ago when we went on an extensive conservancy learning journey where we went through 4 locations across the United States, digging in deep to issues around community conservation. And so I did a lot of traveling with her, got to know her personally. Her and her husband Peter have always been supporters of the Conservancy. Peter's been particularly supportive of the amount of time that Marta's had to put towards this, and she's always been available. She's one of the smartest people I know, and she always gives us deep thought and deep consideration over whatever we're talking about at the moment. So I cannot express appreciation to Marta enough. Thank you. Joe Kimmel, our Vice Chair, will be stepping in as Chair at the September 11th board meeting. Joe is much like Marta. He brings a calm and strong support. He tends to support the staff strongly, and he's always available. He's always available for when we need him. So I'm looking forward to that, Joe. Thank you for being willing to step up, and here we go for the next 2 years. In summary, you've heard all of the wonderful things that have happened from the Conservancy this year. We've had another great year in land protection. Our stewardship department continues to hit new heights with more responsibility than ever, more technical responsibilities in ecological restoration, and we're doing some magnificent things to facilitate different kinds of public access and more public access. Our education department continues to innovate and reach more children at a deeper level than ever before. I always say that our work at the Conservancy reflects what our communities value. We wouldn't be successful if people in the community didn't value this work, and we certainly wouldn't be as successful as we've been. As we look forward, and 2020 has already thrown us a bunch of curveballs, I think that the Conservancy has never been more relevant. The use on our properties has quadrupled. The people who go to our social media sites has doubled. And because of people needed to get outside more, they started to recognize just how important this great outdoors of northern Michigan is to them. And I don't think we've ever been more relevant. And I do think it's important to point out how magnificent northern Michigan is and how we lean on it for our day-to-day physical and mental health. All of this has been wonderful. The culmination of decades of conservation, tens of thousands of acres, hundreds of thousands of kids, and it's all because of our members. Our members we lean on for the bulk of our annual operational support, and we lean on them to be there for us in times like now, when the future is a little bit more uncertain. So thank you for being there, thank you for sticking with us, and get outside and enjoy what you've done.